open it up. Adam King, WBNS.
Coach, what made Carlos the right choice for the running back room?
Yeah, just start off by saying I think I'm getting some allergies here this morning, so I apologize ahead of time if I start sneezing. Carlos, first off, when you hear about Carlos' story, it's captivating, where he's come from, and then you start to listen to his overall knowledge of the position, his aggressiveness in recruiting, the impact he's had on people, the relationships he's had on people. It was an absolute slam dunk for us. He's already in a short period of time brought in an edge and a toughness and an aggressiveness that I think is going to be excellent.
Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, when you were, what was that process like as you picked Carlos, and what do you feel like he brings to the room different than maybe some of the other candidates?
As you can imagine, we had a lot of candidates, a lot of different folks that we spoke to. Mostly over Zoom, but I think there was over 12 different people that we identified in the process. And I think we talked about how we want to make sure that we're really thorough in the process. Felt like we really did that in the search for the offensive coordinator, and I think that was a success. And I think it was the same thing here. And because of the timing of it all, it allowed us the opportunity to be thorough with it. And really dig in on recruiting questions, dig in on scheme, talking about the run game, talking about protection, talking about overall philosophy, all these different things, and interviewed some really good people, pared it down to about four or five, but felt Carlos just stuck out for a lot of reasons. And I just was impressed again with his overall mentality, his approach, but also just his understanding of football, and he's. I think the guys really like him and his approach. I think it's going to, again, be a home run for us.
At the beginning of the search, you mentioned that Trey, Quinchon, like the guys in the room would be a part of it. What was their feedback as you went through the process with Carlos?
Really, most of the guys in the room knew Coach Locke from the recruiting days, so there wasn't really much in terms of having to introduce them to the room. They all knew exactly who he was and had built a relationship in the recruiting process. So when they heard that he was one of the finalists, it was immediate. You could see in their eyes that they were excited about it, and that might have been one of the things that put me over the top. And so it was great. Now it's been a challenge for him to kind of step in the middle of the last couple of weeks of spring practice. He's kind of just taking it hour to hour right now, but his hustle, his intensity, his effort. All of the above, attention to detail has been noticeable early on.
Folks, I'm going to ask that we keep our questions to just one, with just a few exceptions there, just so we can get as many people asking at least one question. Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Brad, what do you want to see from the offensive line to finish out the spring? Not just Saturday, but Wednesday. I guess what did you see from today and Friday? What do they need to show you before the summer?
I think the first thing when you're in the spring, we've talked about this before, you want to see individual improvement. And then as we get into the preseason, it becomes more of like, all right, what's the chemistry of the secondary look like? What's the chemistry of the offensive line, the quarterbacks with the receivers? But the spring to me is more of an individual evaluation. Like, are you getting better? Take that one individual player. And so we need to continue to see that, but we are seeing that across the board. I think the biggest thing is that right side, that right guard position, and then that battle as things have gone on. We've moved Seth and Carson both there. We've used Luke. We've tried Tegra inside. So we've used a bunch of different combinations there, and I think I think it's by the end of this week we need to at least identify where we're going and where we project that, even if it continues into the preseason, which it may. But I feel like both tackles have really improved. It's noticeable. Donovan has improved. His leadership has been felt out there. I do think that Seth and Carson have both had good springs as well. So really want to see if someone could take the next step in that right guard position, however that all shakes out.
Would you say that the right tackle, then, are you guys feeling really confident with with where Josh is at right tackle, and then is it basically just down to center and right guard at this point?
I feel Josh has played some right guard for us this spring to see what that would look like as Tegra moved out there. We've tried some different combinations. I think Josh could play both positions, but we do feel confident with him right now playing at tackle.
Tony Gerben, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan, Julian Sand loses his black stripe earlier than any freshman quarterback you've had. What goes into that, and is there a danger in doing that when you've got so many quarterbacks in the room?
No, I guess, what was it, practice 9? But he's been in there competing and he's making plays, and the guys know, and a lot of times with the black stripe, it's a lot of times the players, they know, they see it, and guy makes a play or shows up over an extended period of time, but in 9 practices in, you could see that he was making a lot of throws and big spots, even against the ones. And so the play speaks for itself. And, again, it's usually when you get your black stripe off, it's because you've earned the respect of the team. And I think he's done that.
Whose call was it?
Well, ultimately, it's my call. C.J. Barnett has a lot of say in it, but the players do too, and you can tell when guys have the respect of the team, and it's anybody who has their black stripe coming off, and there's a few guys that probably are right on the verge of that as well, and I know it means a lot to them because it feels like they've put it on the field. You have to earn it in the weight room first, but then you put it on the field and you start making plays. It speaks for itself, and guys start to see that.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, with the quarterback competition, I feel like last spring we were asking you about how you handle it coming out of spring practice and whatnot. Is there anything that you learned, be it end of spring practice, summer, fall camp, about that process a year ago that you may apply to what you have here, even though it's obviously a different situation?
Yeah, I think you learn from every year. Looking back on last year, I'm not sure if I would have done it any different. I think the way that it all shook out, I felt like it was a battle even going up into the first game, and then it wasn't clear cut even until we got into a few games in. But I think you just keep getting these reps, and you just keep compiling these reps, and you figure out, as guys get into the situations, how they handle it. I think Saturday will be another barometer to figure out where guys are at. I think we got a great crowd planned, so I think we're north of 50,000 tickets already sold, right? And we got good weather planned on Saturday. We'll knock on wood on that. So, good opportunity for some of these guys to get out there and play, Lincoln and Julian, but then also Devin and Will. And, I feel like, the more reps these guys get in those type of environments, you see what it looks like, and then they grow from there. So you're trying to see where they're at, but you're also trying to project where they can be as we head into the summer.
Jeremy Birmingham, podcast.
Ryan, obviously, transfer portal reopens on Monday. In this era of college football, how are you guys prepping for that? I mean, and how insane is it to think that you've just gone through these last 6-7 weeks of spring practice, and now you're looking at potentially another changing 10% of the roster by the end of Monday to the start of fall practice?
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's unique, but I feel like we have a team that has come together for a common purpose, and we talk about why do you play so hard here at Ohio State? It's because of the brotherhood, the love of your teammates. I think we have a good group that way. I think guys want to be here. They want to be at Ohio State. They understand what it means to be a Buckeye. They see the opportunity this season. So, I don't see a bunch of guys that are just looking to run out the door. I think there'll be a couple different situations that maybe it does make sense for guys to maybe look at other places, but and we'll just we'll adapt as those happen. But we know we're going to have to play with a lot of depth next year. If you're playing 16 or 17 games more than ever before, guys are going to play football. So you might be a 2 right now, or you might be a 3, but you could be in the college football playoffs fighting for a championship and be the guy that we're counting on. So I just think this is a different and unique time that we're stepping into. So when guys are looking at the depth chart, I don't think it's as important as it always has been in the past. There's going to be a lot of football played next year, and we're going to roll guys and play depth, especially in the first half of the season, because we're going to need them in the second half of the season.
Dan Hope, Left Warriors.
Ryan, with the quarterback competition, have you started to narrow it down at all, and has anybody started to separate from the others?
No, I don't think we've narrowed it down. But you're seeing guys make certain plays and certain things that are showing up in practice. As we start to get into some of the move it stuff and you get into situational things, you're starting to just see commonalities. A lot of guys, these guys bring great things to the table. Each guy brings either an experience or a skill set that's different from the others. The good news is they all can move, and that's certainly made an impact on the run game. And the pass game, there's good things there. There's still things that they're improving on, but you're seeing some separation. I wouldn't say that I'm ready to name a starter or anything like that, but there's been good competition and guys have made plays. But I think ultimately what we're looking for is the consistency over time.
How much of a factor is Julian in that competition as a true freshman?
He's in the mix. He is. Yeah, he's. Chip really rolls them. It doesn't matter if the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So you get an opportunity to see what guys look like. I think sometimes maybe when you're young, you get the 3 work, and sometimes it can look like a mess out there. And so this has been a really good, sample size to figure out where guys are at. But Julian's been competing his tail off, and he'll continue to do that. And he's got a very bright future, and he's got to have a really good summer.
Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com.
Just following up on that to clarify, how are you going to use the quarterbacks on Saturday? Is there certain guys that are going to get most of the reps with the one offense?
Yeah, so the plan on Saturday is to, we'll have our ones out there. They'll, some of the guys who have, 1,000+ reps who have played a lot of football here, will be in a little bit of a thud mode early on, but then when it goes over with the next group, it'll be offense versus defense. It'll all be tackle, the rest of the way. So we'll be smart about that. Someone like Travion Henderson doesn't need to get tackled on Saturday, but at the same time, it's going to be competitive. We're going to get after it and give the quarterbacks opportunities, even with the ones in there, to go ahead and make plays, and we'll try to create some situations for all those guys to get reps. And so we'll roll it and try to give guys as many reps as they possibly can and go from there.
With Dallin reportedly leaving or informing you guys he's leaving, do you guys have enough depth at running back, or the quality, experience depth that you want there? Do you have to look in the portal to subsidize that position?
Yeah, we're looking for 5, and so I think we're in a situation where we'll be at 5. If we need to add a 6th, then we'll look into that. But right now, I think we'll be in a situation where we feel comfortable with 5 guys.
Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
What was your initial conversation like with Carlos, and did you have to recruit him pretty hard? I'm just curious how that first conversation went.
He was excited. We were excited. It was I think it was kind of mutual. It's unique because of where it's at in spring, and that's a tough spot for anybody to be in, and I felt it on the other end of it. So, he's a guy who always wants to, do things the right way and handle himself the right way. But I think he just saw this opportunity as such a great opportunity for him, and I think we were probably both recruiting each other the same. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kellyanne Stitz, WSYN.
Coach, going back to the spring game, what does that say for it to be nationally televised? What does it say about the momentum around this program, and how excited are the guys for this opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's a great day planned. An opportunity to be the first ever spring game that's going to be televised nationally on Fox is just so exciting for our guys and for BuckeyeNation and for the program. Really cool, really great opportunity. So our guys want to put on a good show, and have some fun with it. And like you said, there's going to be a lot of great recruits here. There's a lot of great momentum around the program and how things have continued to build. But and then even that night, we have an event here in the Woody, a concert we call Saddle Up that is an opportunity to raise some money, but also getting a lot done just in terms of giving back and some charities as well. So it's a little bit of combination of NIL and some charity work, but also an opportunity to have some fun. So Gary LaVox is here and north to Nashville, something we started last year in the Woody, where folks get to actually come into the Woody, which not everybody gets an opportunity to do, and then actually have a concert on the indoor. So between that and the spring game itself, after the spring game, we do a barbecue for the families here. It's a long day, but it's a great day, and so we're praying for great weather.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
When we asked you about Will Howard for the last practice, you said, he's coming along, obviously a new system,
Yep.
but you wanted to see a lot of growth in the next 2 weeks. Have you seen that? And is there a pecking order? Is he still the presumptive favorite?
That's we haven't really talked about that very much, but his experience is definitely showing. I think that he's played a lot of football before, and I think his combination on the field of being able to extend plays with his feet, run in the run game, pull the ball. We've seen that happen before, and then be accurate with in the pocket, throwing the ball, play action on the move. All those things put stress on the defense, and so we're trying to put him in the most difficult situations we possibly can: third down, third and long, second and long, different situations, just to see how those guys respond, just like everybody else. But one thing about Will is he's working really hard. He's in the building early. He's in the building late. He's putting a lot of work in. You can just see that. I think the guys see that. And, another part of all those quarterbacks is, what do the guys think? What do the receivers think? What does the offensive line think? And I think he's done a really good job of, trying to win those guys over. I think all the quarterbacks have. But, you definitely see the hard work there. You see the experience and you see the ability. I think every practice that he's out there, he's learning the offense and feeling more comfortable with it.
Devin looked really good in the practice we saw. Could you kind of assess his spring?
Yeah, I think that he's now into year 3, and a lot of the things that we're doing is still what we've done in the past, so that he probably feels the most comfortable out there with the offense, and you see that. The big thing with him is just being as consistent as he possibly can, and keep the offense moving, because he certainly has the ability and definitely flashes.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Who on the defense is giving the offense the biggest headache this spring?
Right, Jim Knowles. I think with our defense this year, with Sonny, with CJ, with Cody, you're seeing Gabe in there, Arvell Reese. We got some pretty good length in there at linebacker. They're flashing. But I would say probably, it's the interior guys up front. They're creating havoc in the backfield. DBs are very active. They're getting their hands on a lot of balls. So I think it's everybody. I think the coverage and the rush is working together. The scheme is now into year 3, and I think guys are understanding. You're starting to see Caleb really understand now. The first 6-7 practices, and now like the second half of the spring, he's really taken off. You just see how fast he's seeing it. But I think our guys have done a really good job of making, zone look like man look like zone. The pressures, all those things are really starting to add up, and it's not easy on the offensive side. So I think it's the combination of scheme and talent, but I do think overall we have pretty good athleticism and length, especially in this second level.
Tim May podcast.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. Julian Sayin, for example, where are you in starting a freshman quarterback? Do you look at him as just another one of the guys competing out there, or do you keep in mind he's a freshman? Just kind of what's your thinking along those lines, right?
I think it's just the mindset for him is that he needs to be ready to go, play at Oregon. He's got to be ready to go play at Penn State. He's got to go ready to play against the team up north. He's got to go play for the Big Ten and a national championship. And that's in his mind, because as we know, the last time a national championship was won, we were on to quarterback 3. And, with the quarterbacks having the ability to run, like we haven't done that a lot here. Justin was probably the last one, and boy, he really kind of limped in the last couple games because of that. And so we're going to need guys. So I think, now more than when we had CJ and Dwayne and even Kyle, where we didn't really run those guys, they kind of survived the whole season. We're gonna run the quarterback some this year, and because of that, we're gonna need depth, and so that room's got to be strong. So to me, it's not about maybe in the past where it was like just the quarterback and we were gonna kind of keep him upright. This year, we're going to do that with Chip. So we need depth in that room. So his mindset's got to be that I'm playing next year, and if he's the best available at the time, then he's going to play.
You know how a youngster comes in. Sometimes they get in line, but sometimes they line up and they want to, They want the line to go this way, not that way.
Yeah.
And stuff. Has he been like that? Assertive?
It's been unbelievable.
How has that shown up? I guess.
That's just really good. He has a good plan when he gets out there. Doesn't want to get his hand held. I've been impressed with his approach, and like I said before, he's got a really, really bright future. I mean, how fast he gets on the field will be just, kind of up to him.
Joey Hoffman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, just to clarify with Down, has he indeed told you his plans are to transfer to a done deal?
Yeah, I think, we're going to keep all those conversations private and kind of wait till next week to talk about it. Yeah.
Bill Landis, the podcast, Kings of the North.
Right, you said coming into spring ball that you had some stuff to figure out on the right side of the line, but you felt confident that you had the answers in house. Do you still feel that way as spring ball wraps up?
I think we have to look at everything. I'm not sitting here and saying one way or the other. I think I like to watch the film today. We did a couple moving some guys around to see how that went, and then see how Saturday goes, and then kind of go from there. But can't sit here and tell you that I know that right side's solidified right now. So I think we got to keep looking at all options.
And you said you think both tackles, the Joshes, I guess, have improved.
Yeah.
Just what specifically have you seen from those guys that makes you say that?
I think it's just overall production. You're just seeing, especially in pass protection, you just see those guys in better position. Against Jack and JT and Kenyatta and those guys, they're Mitchell, Caden, they're just more consistent blocking them. So whether it's first off, I think Josh Fryer has really changed his body. His body fat's down, and that's something, his diet and everything, we really hammered this off season. And so I think that was significant in how quickly his feet are moving, because he's sharp in what he does, and he's bending better. I think for Josh Simmons, that was never an issue, although he is in great shape. I think it's more of the experience and understanding of the offense, playing more football, and more of the mental part of it. So I think both guys have benefited from another year, but both for different reasons.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Different variations of this question before, but you got a quarterback room with just a wide variety of different descriptions of guys, from very experienced guys to like Julian, who maybe has showed up and looked a bit better than most freshman quarterbacks typically show up.
Yep.
You've also got a season that's, as you mentioned, a little bit longer, a little bit different, maybe
Yep.
a more favorable schedule this time around. And we've seen other programs do this before, but in your philosophy in picking a starting quarterback, what matters more, the older guy with maybe a little bit more experience, or the younger guy who might be flashing some upside early on that you might be able to tap into at some point, later down the line?
Well, I think the good thing for us is that we might have both, which is great. So if that's the case, then we'll play those guys. I think that's what this season offers, the way that you look at the season. And we're going to do whatever we can to win games. That's what it comes down to. But we also know what our goal is at the end of the season, and what is going to put us in position to do that at the end of the season, and making sure we have 2 or 3 quarterbacks that can go help us reach our goals is going to be the number one thing. So how do we do that? We got to figure that part out. I don't think we're there yet. Right now, the focus is just getting these guys as many reps as we can, evaluating them. But as we head into the preseason, into the season, that probably means getting guys reps in the game, so that they don't get put into a situation where they haven't played a lot of football before. Unique to maybe in the past. I think about where Lincoln was in that bowl game. He was not ready to play in that game. He would tell you, and it wasn't his fault. Kyle had played, and then when he entered the portal, and then Devin was in the bowl practice and got hurt so early, and then he kind of got thrown into that. Where this year we can't be in that situation, because we know we are going to run the quarterbacks this year. We have to build depth in that position.
Does that put you in a situation where maybe you're more open to maybe putting the guy out there in meaningful snaps once the season rolls around, just for the sake of not being thrown in that situation again?
We haven't talked about that, but that very possibly could happen. Yeah, if that's what we're trying to do. That's a ways away, but we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get there. But I think that's certainly something that's worth discussing.
Andy Baxter, Letterman Row.
Ryan, what have you seen from James Peoples so far this spring, and is he someone that can contribute right away for you guys?
Yeah, I think both freshmen and TC Caffey, all 3 of those guys, so Sam, James, and TC, have had very good springs. I've been very impressed with their approach. I got a chance to spend time with them for those couple of weeks, which was great to see the way that they go into meetings, the way they answer questions, their attention to detail. I'm looking to see them, run and in a live situation on Saturday, because I think all of those backs have talent, and all of them can catch out of the backfield. All of them are really good in protection, and they can run outside and inside the tackles. So first time they get tackled to be on Saturday, but all three of those guys have done a nice job. I mean, Trey and Quinshawn have been really solid, but those three guys, to see them go play in the game will be fun, and an opportunity for everyone to see those guys with the ball in their hand.
Andy Backford, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette. Guys, I'm sorry, I only got time for just a couple more.
You mentioned that how quickly Julian gets on the field is going to be up to him. What are some of the things you need to see from now to through fall camp that may push him onto the field? Is it just a matter of adjusting the speed of the game? I guess where does he not measure up to Will and Devin right now that he can still get to?
Yeah, just overall experience, and then just maturity, physically, mentally, emotionally, all those things. But he's shown great signs. But I think he's put on maybe 15 pounds he's got here. That's great. But the overall strength and just size and then it's a matter of just experience. But I like his approach. I mean, I see things in him that lead us to believe he's got a really bright future, and it's very, very encouraging.
And final question, folks. Andy Anders, Lebanon Warriors.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up by talking about tight end depth, I guess. Where are those guys at coming out of spring, trying to find those options behind G?
Yeah, G, I think last time I came in, I felt strong about G. I still feel the same way. I think he's taken the next step in the in the progression and blocking. Now, when you're playing tight end, 60, 70 plays can really add up. And so we're going to have to roll at times. I think Will Kazmarek every day has gotten better. So that's been great. Jelani has improved. Seen him do some really good things. He's been great in the red zone, catching a few balls. And Pat Gerd and Bennett have also shown certain things. And so the room across the board has been solid. And having depth at that position, even having someone like Jace Middleton or some of the guys, Max next as he comes in, we're going to have to continue to have depth in that room, because the same thing, like we get into December and January, you just don't know where that depth's going to be. So we got to make sure that if we're in 12 personnel and we're 3 deep at that position, that means there's 6 guys that you feel okay putting in a game, and that's a big ask. But I think the top guys are playing well. They got to continue to improve. They all have things they got to improve on, but I would say overall we're starting to build that depth in that room.
Coach, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, Coach, want to pop down? Trivia question.
6.
NFL Hall of Famer from Coach Carlos